Hey guys, and welcome to Little Black Book. We are having a session of Let's Talk. I am joined by some very beautiful, handsome, intelligent, smart people alongside myself. So I'm joined by Teresa, Vera, and Michael. I'm going to let them introduce themselves as well. Let them know where you can find them as well, because it's always good. I like to share the platform. It's not just about me, okay? It's about my lovely people I'm with. You understand? So if I can go, Teresa, if you can go first, introduce yourself, let them know where they can also find more from you.
All right. Well, my main platform that I facilitate on is Instagram. That's where I'm most active now. I should have put my username at the bottom like Mike. That was very smart. Okay, so it's complicated now a little bit because there's a lot of TLC fan groups. So it's like 8 underscores and then it's TLC. It's very simple. Because those are my
Teresa?
initials. They're my initials, but there's a lot of TLC fan groups. So
8 underscores.
8, because 7 was taken.
All right, cool.
So 8
Appreciate it.
underscores TLC. That's me. You'll see me in the little yellow bikini.
Okay. Appreciate it, Teresa. Vera, go for it. Let us know. Let us know we can find you as well.
Oh gosh. So I guess Instagram. On Instagram, I'm Vera_Kelechi, Kelechi. Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Nice and simple. And you guys may recognize this particular face as well. Handsome, dashing, I'm saying smart, intelligent, a money spender too, man. Money spender. All right. Michael.
Man, that's the best intro I've ever had. Yeah, you can. I'm typically on Instagram. I'm trying to get on Clubhouse more often, but I can't even talk as much as those people there. But yeah, my username is it's __chu.
Beautiful, beautiful. So today, guys, we're going to have a conversation on high maintenance versus high value. Now, if you don't know what that is, I'm going to let the panelists give us their particular definitions of those particular phrases that we've coined. But today's conversation, like I said, we want to have a real in-depth conversation around relationships, around money, around finance, and our particular perspectives. So audience, jump in, contribute in the comment section, leave questions, because I probably will pose them to the people on the actual stage. And we're going to have just a real good conversation. So high maintenance versus high value. I'm going to go to Michael in the far corner right. We're going to start from you. Okay, Michael, please give us your definition of high maintenance versus high value. What is it to you?
Yeah. So I think I personally like this conversation just because a lot of people, you know what, I'm just gonna be honest. A lot of women say that they're high maintenance, right? And then there's been a lot of discussion about what a high value man or woman is like, or what consists of a high value man. So I was just sitting here thinking, and I'm like, most of the women that I personally come across that said that they're high maintenance just meant like it costs a lot to keep them up. Whether that is, and it isn't not necessarily. It just seemed like it was mostly materialistic things that they determined made them high maintenance. Like they had high the items they liked, the shoes they bought, where they shopped at, where they ate. That's top tier stuff. You can't keep that up, keep up with them in that regard, or like pay for that type of lifestyle. Then you can't necessarily be with them. And then so when I think about high value, it's the characteristics within a person that makes them that helps like from a woman's perspective. I'm looking at a woman that can help uplift my life. So I'm looking at someone who's nurturing, someone who has a youthful exuberance for life, someone who is introspective in their thoughts, someone who is thoughtful enough to think about things that I might need and support me, before just by noticing, because she's so aware of like what's going on between us. It's not a monetary thing when I'm thinking about high value when I'm looking for a woman. But it just seems like high maintenance had a lot of materialistic ties to that word.
Okay, I appreciate that. Vera gave a look that told me that she's not agreeing. So Vera, you're gonna have to go next. Break it out.
I actually think he's right. I think I was agreeing.
Tell us why.
Well, But I think high maintenance has like a connotation to it when someone says, "Oh, they're high maintenance." Like, oh, that's bad. But it's not. I don't think it has to be bad. If you can afford your high maintenance lifestyle, then go ahead and go to the spa every weekend and get your nails done and your hair done. I think it's probably more socially accepted for women than for men. You know, like I feel like if I become high maintenance and that's not a financial issue, that's fine. But if my guy becomes high maintenance, I might have an issue with that. Like, I don't need you spending as much time in the salon as I am and making yourself all beautified. I feel like that's probably more socially accepted for women than for men.
Mm.
I don't mind. I feel like if a woman says she's high maintenance, I have to kind of dig deeper. It doesn't, I know just on surface level, it sounds very materialistic, but if maybe she saves money from buying clothes to maybe get her nails done every weekend, and that's her definition of high value, that's fine. You know what I mean? I think as long as it's not like, you know, she's not broke from it, it's not kind of hindering her life in any significant way, it's fine to do whatever self-care needs you need to do. But personally, I would want a guy who considers themselves high maintenance. Like, go to work. Like, like you know, go.
I hear you, bro. Teresa, tell us, high maintenance, high value. What's your
They
what's your
didn't
thing?
leave. They didn't leave anything for me to say. Like, they literally said it all. So high maintenance to me is more of a superficial thing, right? It's what you're wearing, what you're driving, what you're doing, like the money that you kind of filter into those things is to impress people. Like, when I view high maintenance, it's like you're almost being high maintenance because you're trying to impress those that see you, because it's very surface level, or it's you're overcompensating for insecurities. So high maintenance to me is like, oh, I want this Louis Vuitton bag, but I really need to look at Michael Kors because I can't really afford that Louis. But people will go broke trying to live in luxury, and that, I think that's what high maintenance is, trying to live in luxury, and it's beyond your means. I don't see anything wrong with like self-maintenance, like getting your hair done, getting your nails done, and all of those things. I hate that that's viewed as high maintenance, because I just want to feel good. And when I look good, I feel better. Like, I feel poor when my nails aren't done. I feel very poor right now because I'm used to just having nice nails, right? So high value, I think Mike kind of spoke on like what you can contribute to someone's life to bring their life up in value. It's like, I don't know, supporting investments and things like that, and building things that are gonna have longevity, like be profitable in the long run, opposed to like what you see on me right now today. It's like, what can I do to contribute to how I'm gonna be living and looking like in 10 years? So I think that's more of what a high value type of person is. But they both really spoke on everything. You called on me last. They said it all.
Go for it,
Mike really hit it off the bat. Like, I didn't have anything to say after Mike.
Okay, so one thing I did leave out on the high maintenance, in my personal definition, is typically that woman may not be able to support that lifestyle on her own. You'll see like a 19, 20, 21-year-old girl talking about some high maintenance. Like, what? Based on what? Like, yeah, who doesn't? Like, when I was 18, I wanted a Range Rover and a beer. You know what I mean? Like, everybody wants nice things, but can you get it yourself? And especially dating here in Atlanta, I've been on a date where, you know, I've gone, it was supposed to be a light situation. We're just meeting up, and this girl orders like $300 worth of food.
Sorry, how much?
Like $300 worth of food. I ordered, on my side, I ordered maybe $20, like a little drink and something. And she tried to see like, oh, you should try like she'd order something and then try to feed it to me. Like, you should take a bite of this and try this. It's not, she went to a very expensive restaurant. That's what she wanted to do. And then at the end, I could tell, I just had a feeling that she couldn't really do this on her own, right? You know, and so at the end, I just said, we're splitting the bill, because I could feel the energy. So
that's my guy.
Yeah. So and so what came from that is later on she says, "Oh, I don't think you like me." You get what I'm saying? Because I did not pay the entire bill. I don't hope that's not my audio doing that.
Are you good?
But yeah, and like when we left, she didn't necessarily have the newest car. Like you get what I'm saying? It's like I don't think that that's where she would go on her own. So part of that is like, oh, I want to be high maintenance. I want someone to sponsor my high maintenance lifestyle, not me personally. Any woman that makes it on her own, I don't call that high maintenance. That's just your standard of living. You see what I mean? That's a completely different thing.
I love that. I'm just gonna ask a question though. Did you eat some of the food? Because it's £300.
Literally took like one bite of each, and I was like, I don't even want that. She just kept ordering. I mean, oh man,
that's your problem. That's your problem there. I would have eaten it.
Yeah, I would have ate the whole thing.
Yeah, I would have ate it. Because if I'm going to go 50-50 at the end, I'm going to eat some of her food. But I appreciate that as well. Let me give, I guess, a dictionary definition of the words that we've spoken about. So high maintenance, I got from, what was it? Webster Dictionary said, tending to cause, and it's a really odd definition, but it says tending to cause problems or demand attention, extremely sensitive, demanding, or temperamental. That's what a definition was on Webster. But I would go with what maintenance is and then put high next to it. So the definition of maintenance is the act of maintaining the state of being maintained, which basically means the upkeep of property or equipment. So if we're saying something is high maintenance, it means that particular thing requires a lot of effort, whether it be money, time, energy, etc., etc., etc. And then to talk about value, definition in Webster was saying that a fair return or equivalent in goods, services, or money for something exchanged. So if we're saying something is a high value, it means you're getting a high amount of fair, a fair equivalent or return on services, money exchange. So what Michael, you spoke about, what Teresa spoke about, what Traveris spoke about as well, is that when we're discussing high maintenance versus high value, the key difference seems to be what you get out of it in return. So if that woman or man comes into your life, if they are quote unquote high value, as Vera was saying, she doesn't want a high value, high maintenance man. What we're wanting to discuss here is that high value seems to be about what you're receiving, how that person's also helping you improve. Would that be fair to say, or would you guys disagree? Go for it.
I agree.
Okay. I agree.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
totally agree. Yeah.
And I think part of it is people, maybe in our last discussion, felt like we had this idea of high value meant that you made a certain amount of money, and your definition had nothing to do with how much money they make, right? It's just what are you bringing back? What is the what's the official term? Return on investment.
Yeah.
You know what is that return on investment at the end of the day? Whether the investment is $100 or $400,000, it doesn't matter. It's like, are you getting a return? Are you, whoever you're pouring into, are they bringing something back?
Mm-hmm.
Why do you think? Because I think when you spoke about the maintenance part, I think I really like that, because it was talking about the fact that if you can't upkeep this yourself, why is there? Okay, let me make it open question. If you couldn't upkeep this yourself, why is there an expectation that the man should come along and upkeep you in that which you couldn't keep yourself? So basically what I'm saying is, let's say you want to go to a £300 dinner plate restaurant, but you yourself can't upkeep that without going broke or without being living on a line. Why is it that it seems to be, when we're talking about high maintenance, that seems to be the conversation that always comes to the fray, that someone is eating off a plate that they really couldn't afford themselves, but expect maybe a man to do so? I don't know if anyone wants to hit that. Go for it, Vera. I saw your finger.
I think it just depends on who you're expecting it from.
Okay.
Right? There are people who go to expensive French restaurants on the regular Tuesday afternoon. It's no big deal. And there are people who save up their, a whole month's check to go, so like, if you're expecting it from a person who is nothing, then it's not a big deal. But you just have to kind of be self-aware and know who you're having certain expectations of. Like, I wouldn't go to a restaurant, order $300 worth of food unless I'm like dining with a multimillionaire who $300 is nothing. You know what I mean? But I just wouldn't even do that. You can't eat that much food. That's just classless. I honestly believe. But if it just depends on who you're having certain expectations of.
Wait, let me answer the question. All right, before Tracer cuts in, so it's not £300. Let's say for you can afford £300 plate. It's now $3,000 or $30,000 plate. he's a millionaire, but let's say you're not a millionaire. Is that okay then? Because that's the same level.
No, because it's actually classless to go on the first date and order like the lobster plate or the filet. Even if you can't afford it yourself, you just do it. Just even if the guy can afford it, just get the salmon. Like don't do that, because it especially when there's no trust between the two of you and you're trying not to come off as a gold digger. You can go without that for a while. Just get to know each other first, and then later when they get, I mean, if you're eating a filet mignon, on your own, then it's not a big deal to forego it for a while, right? Just so this guy can really get to know who you are and like trust that you're not there for just the food. And then later, like, you can go back to your regular lifestyle.
Go for it, Teresa.
My question was, at what point do you even discuss whether a man can afford that or not? That's a lot for a first date. To throw that on him, like, what if Mike didn't have it and Shorty over here ordering steaks and lobster tails and
him a little bit longer? She would have known that Mike didn't have it.
She washing dishes. That's what she did.
So now what do you do? Like, if she could not maintain that type of eating on her own, but she perpetuated a financial situation that she didn't even know that someone really had. Now y'all both sitting there she gonna get walked out on. Separate the bill. Pay for my part. And Shorty can do what she want. Like, is it okay to ask on the first date, like, how much, like, if me and Mike went on a date and we sat down and I said, well, how much do you make? Is that even appropriate on the first date? Like, when do you start even talking about finances on the date?
From personal experience, I feel like the guy usually kind of leads the way when planning the first date. Okay, and then you can gauge, like, is the guy asking you to Starbucks or is he asking you to Chops Lobster House? You know what I mean? Like, okay, Starbucks, I might not do Starbucks. We may need to go a little bit higher, but Chops, he can handle Chops. If he's suggesting Chops, I don't come out and say, well, I want to take me to Chops. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you let them gauge, like, but it's not always. You don't always have like bad intentions when you go to a nice place. Sometimes you just want to, be in a nice atmosphere. Your intention is to just get a glass of wine, maybe a small appetizer, but you just want to get dressed up and be in a nice atmosphere. The same thing you would do with your girlfriends. Like, because I've done that before. And my intention is really like just to feel like I'm going on a special day. I wanted to wear a dress and I wanted to be in a nice atmosphere. The whole time I knew I was just going to get the salad. I wasn't going to break this guy's wallet, but he was sweating a little bit though. He was like, man, if she gets this sea bass.
So I'll give some more context to that situation. So we linked up at the mall. We linked up at Lenox Mall, and we were just walking around chopping up, talking. And then she said she was hungry. I had already eaten. So I said, well, this is probably where I made a mistake. I did not choose the place. I said, where do you want to go? She said, Twist. You know Twist in Phipps Plaza. But she was ordering the highest things on the menu. So I hadn't been to Twist before. I didn't really know anything about it. And I just rolled with the flow. And it ended up being a very expensive date. But I just felt like that's not where she would have gone. And at least that's not everything she would have ordered.
Right.
And that's where, and the part, and another reason I was saying high maintenance, what the expectation is from the man, because there's another show that comes on before the show that I'm on. Other women, she said she was very high maintenance, expected the men to I think she already had 2 kids, and expected the men to on the show come out of their mouth and say they're willing to take on whatever it is going to take care of her and her kids at the level that she wants them to be taken, whatever level she's living on. And I'm like, is that high maintenance? So I have to take on all your baggage as well. I have to keep up your lifestyle plus take on the baggage of whatever it is you're bringing. It kind of sucks to call kids baggage, but it is. So it was just an interesting idea that some women really believe that you have to take on all of what they bring, all the baggage, and also maintain a lifestyle that they may not be able to keep up with on their own. So that's where it kind of doesn't work out for me. I don't see where that thought process comes.
Go for it, Trisha.
This is actually a good segue into the clip.
Mm-hmm.
Were you gonna say that?
Listen, girl, you reading my mind, girl. Don't worry about it. So this is actually a good segue. So you're absolutely right. It's a good segue into the clip that will, I guess, that will get us kind of speaking about the dating scene and dealing with finances, because this is what we've been talking about right now in terms of high maintenance versus high value. So I'm going to play a little clip for you guys. It's about 3 minutes long. Just sit through it, hear it out. It's going to get interesting. So give me 2 seconds. Let's play this clip, and you're going to see what we're going to say.
Could you believe that a young lady would not date me because I told her it's not in my budget? She didn't return a phone call. She ain't do nothing. And I'm sitting here like, well, what the heck? Y'all, she didn't text me for 2 months. Keep it live. We'll be right back. You guys know me. I budget. I budget every single month. At the end of the month, I always, list in my cash flow. Then I also put out what I have going out. Inside of my budget, because I am a single man and I'm dating for a purpose, for marriage, I do have a line item for dates. That line item is not a lot. I'm not going to give you the particular number, but it's not that much. So about a few months ago, I took this young lady out. We went out to dinner. She texted me. She says, hey, first date was cool, but can we go to this particular restaurant next weekend? I didn't respond because I wanted to go home and check my budget and make sure that, okay, I can afford it inside of my budget. So when I go home, I realize it's going to take me over that particular line item in my budget for dating. So I asked myself, all right, do I tell her the truth? Like, I was thinking about just lying, y'all, to be real. I was going to be like, can't go, I'm busy. But then you know what? The Holy Spirit said, no, don't lie. Show her the caliber of man that you are. So I sent her a text message that says, hey, unfortunately, I can take you out next weekend, but I can't take you to this particular restaurant because if I do, this would take me over my dating budget for the month. I would be more than happy to budget this in for next month if we are still dating. So I send it, and I got an iPhone. And then on the iPhone, y'all know how it happens. When they start typing, that big old bubble come up with a ... I'm thinking like, okay, cool, we good. Then the ... goes away, and nothing comes in. And I'm sitting there, I'm emotional, like, dang, did I just play myself? Dang, did she just play me? Y'all, she didn't text me for 2 months. She didn't return a phone call. She ain't do nothing. And I'm sitting here like, well, what the heck? How is she gonna sit here and say, you know what? I can't respond to that because a man's gonna stick to his budget. That's sad. So she seen me on a particular national show. Ain't gonna say who, but she seen me on TV. She sends me a text message and she says, hey, just seen you on such and such. How are you? What about that date? I started typing and I really wasn't typing nothing. I just wanted her to see the ... And I didn't hit send. Because here's the thing, you can't play me and then honestly think I'm gonna come back to you after you've done me like that. What's the whole purpose of this story? My vision for my life and for my money, because I stuck to it, it actually blocked me from dating a particular young lady that probably wasn't healthy for me. So to anyone who's out there dating, when you have a budget, you stick to that budget. Your plan is your pathway to your future. You stick to that plan. You stick to the vision. Where there is no vision, that's where people perish.
All right, lovely stuff. Guys, you saw the clip. So I want to get your initial thoughts to the clip and what was said in the actual video. What is your initial thoughts? Anybody can go for it. Go, Vera.
Okay, so the girl clearly lost out on the good guy, right? Because I'm guessing maybe he's in his late 20s. He's budgeting as he should, and she judged him because he wasn't able to afford this high class date that she wanted right away. It wasn't even like he couldn't have afforded ever, just right away. Again, that's why I'm like, you have to take account who you're dealing with. Like someone in their 20s shouldn't be just shelling out money like that. You know what I mean? Unless he's just super wealthy. And the fact that he has a dating budget shows that he's responsible. The fact that he has a vision is also like a sign of good character. That's someone you actually want to be long term with. Like, this person is worth investing your time and like building something with this person, right? Rather than someone who just wants to, kind of love bomb you with a bunch of nice shiny things in the beginning so they can get what they want, and then boom, they're gone. So I actually think like this guy is someone I would consider high value guy, especially for his age. He's actually has a plan for the future. And unfortunately, that girl probably learned the hard way,
Appreciate very sound. Michael, Teresa, what was your thoughts? Go on, Michael.
I'm reading some of the comments and they're talking about he was being petty. No. He did exactly what he should have done. I mean, why is it that when someone does something petty to you and then you give them the same energy, it's like, but he should not be. No. Like that's the energy you gave. That's the energy you received. So don't hit me up now on TV. What's wrong with you? But talking about the budget, I really wish I would have learned or had a budget when I was younger and dating, because it would have saved me a lot of money. My sister's gonna say, yeah, she probably knows. I was just doing whatever just because I thought that's what you're supposed to do. You know, like you go on a date and you just do whatever. And I wish I had some of that money back, because a lot of these people I never talk to again. You know, you have to stick to your budget. That's your life. That's your money. We work hard for it. Especially at that time, I was not making a lot, so each dollar counted. And there were times where if a date went over budget, that meant that maybe I was late on paying something. You know, so I wasn't very responsible like he was. And I think people long term will always respect you for sticking to your morals and what your goals are, as opposed to bending. And I mean, even in relationships, if you constantly bend to satisfy someone else and put your goals last, people treat you like, it makes you less attractive, and they value you less because you value yourself.
Yeah. Word. Teresa, hit it. Tell us, what was your thoughts when you were watching that video?
So when I saw this video, I loved it. Like that, like Vera said, like that would have been a guy that you would have been like, okay, this guy has a plan. A man with a plan, that's love right there, because many of people are not moving out here with plans, especially at a younger age, right? So when you start talking about like financial literacy and budgeting and stuff like that gets me excited. I love stuff like that. We talked a little bit before we actually hopped on live, and we had conversations around that. Like that type of thing gets me excited. Like I would have had so many questions for him and how he budgets and what he does. So I wouldn't have looked at that as it was a disservice to him or a relationship we were trying to build. Like that would have been like, oh, that's like really responsible and nice. Like I was saying earlier, like $200, $300 for one night to eat dinner. Like that's groceries for a household for a month. So it's like budgeting is attractive to me. So when I saw that video, like the girl really played herself, but that also, it's a token of those type of girls that just use people to get these nice dinners and get these nice dates. And those are the type of women that you see where you were like, well, could you do this on your own? No, they couldn't. So that's why they find them a nice guy that seems like they have a little bit of coin and they take advantage. That's really what it was. And as a person, as a giver, you have to be very cautious. You have to have a limit on your giving, because takers don't have a limit. They'll take. And then it'll just have your whole entire life and your plan messed up. So I love that video. That wouldn't have been a problem to me at all. So
I love that as well. And I think with that particular video as well, I think what was interesting was the fact that we had spoken about this previously, which was that when someone's not adding, so he actually explained that, listen, hey, this month I ain't got that, but maybe next month I can put that into my budget. So aside the fact that he's not even saying that he hasn't got it, he just said this is not in the budget for this month. Next month we can work it in if we get to that stage. And the person decided to exit out simply because he made that comment. That for me is what I would say high maintenance, because that person there wants to draw from you, doesn't want to give anything. So that person already has got a mindset, which is, I'm going to strip you of what I can. As long as I can get it out of you. I will take it from you. I don't think, as Michael said again, I want to reiterate, I don't think it's a problem if you live that lifestyle already. You can afford to live that lifestyle. And when I say afford, I mean you're not on bottom line, because I don't think you're affording that lifestyle when you're on bottom line. You're not. You're surviving. You're not thriving. So when you are able to afford that lifestyle and it's natural for you, and you're not having to struggle each month for month, that's your lifestyle. That's your standard. That's fine. That for me isn't high maintenance. And if I can't meet that level, that's me. I can't meet that level because that's your natural level. Fine. But if you are at the bottom line and you are out here in these streets and you're living from check to check and you trying to tell someone to pay £300 on a food plate, which you wouldn't ordinarily eat by yourself, you're actually taking me to the cleaners. And I think you're not adding any particular value, to the actual particular, person in front of you. So I just want to ask a question. Do you guys have a dating budget?
I guess I'll go first since I'm the only guy that probably, y'all, the women even need a dating budget?
Excuse me?
Yes.
They don't need it. They be sucking us dry, bro. This is.
I'm joking. I'm joking too much.
He said this.
Go on,
I
Mike.
think I don't have a set dating budget. I do have a mental budget of how much I'm willing to spend on someone based on how much I like them at the time. So if I really like you, we can go skydiving. That might be a $200 plus date. If I don't know if I like you yet, then we're gonna go to the movies. I mean, it's just gonna be a different type of thing.
That's a
Hold on a
good
minute.
day. I love
What?
the movies.
I'm just saying it's not gonna be. I don't know. It's like I have to know exactly. I have to know that I'm willing to invest time, effort, energy, and money to make memories.
Okay, fair enough. Vera, how about yourself? Do you have a dating budget? Do women have dating budgets? Do they need dating budgets? Talk to us, Vera.
I think women do have dating budgets, whether we kind of know it or not, or acknowledge it or not. The outfit that you wear, whether you choose to go get your hair done, your nails done. Some people might go to the salon, go to the spa, like makeup, like all those things, perfume, all those things are things we spend money on, right? Just so we can make ourselves appealing. So I think women definitely have dating budgets, but I don't like, as to what Michael was saying, I think he was trying to, well, I don't know. The way I look at it, you make memories with people that you want to get to know better, right? And don't necessarily have to involve like a high price date. It could be like, oh my gosh, like I don't know. One of the best dates I went on was just like getting some Jenny's ice cream and walking around the Brave Stadium and like seeing all the little, shops and walking in and walking out, just kind of hopping around. Jenny's ice cream is like makes every day great. You know what I mean? And it's like it's the first time that he tried it, so it's like a memory, that something you always remember. And it's like, what
was that a first date though?
No. No, it was not.
If that was a first date, let's keep it real now. First date, he takes you to Jenny's to take the Jenny's ice cream. You all start walking around the building. Are you gonna be okay with that?
I think so. Yeah.
Sorry, Vera. I need you to say that with your chest.
Here's
go on.
I believe that first dates at this point, again, like I'm a little older than the 20-year-olds, at this point should be special, right?
Okay.
And it doesn't necessarily have to mean some high cost thing, but on the first day, I want to get dressed up and wear heels and look cute. We can't do that going to Jenny's ice cream. So sometimes it's almost like, let's go to a place that matches what I want to look like.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I'm aware enough to not run up your costs. You know what I mean? I can eat a salad and have a good time on the first date, not a big deal. But sometimes I just want to remember that date as something special that I took time and effort to get ready for, just so we'll always remember that.
Let me ask you one last question before I let Teresa hit it. Let me ask you one last question. If I'm not guaranteed that we're going to make it to a relationship, why am I invested in risky stock?
It's not risky. You're going to have a great time on that date.
No. But this might not be fruitful. I'm asking a genuine question. I want to get us to thinking, because you may have a mindset where you're coming into it. I'm not saying you per se. You may have a mindset, like he was saying, high maintenance. And we get onto a date, right? And your mindset is to strip me. And so we get there, and now I'm paying for all this stuff because I want to show you that obviously as a man, I can handle the finances, etc., etc. And you get there, you've got a different mindset. You want to strip me of that. So now I've lost £300 on the plate.
Well, this is
risque.
This is why I like to invest time in talking to people on the phone first before even a first date, right? So that I could get to know what their mindset is and give them an opportunity to get to know what my mindset is, right? And if it's, again, I'm at the point where I won't go on a date with someone that I don't see potential in just from the conversations. And I will literally say, based on our conversation, I really don't think that we would make a good match. I don't want to waste your time, and that'll be that. And if I think that this is something that could be fruitful, then I agree on the first date. Then, for both of our sakes and our story, it would be have a memorable first date,
Okay, so you're saying have a conversation get to know the person before you go out on these dates.
Several conversations, actually. Yeah.
Okay, Teresa, talk to us. What are you thinking?
I definitely agree with having those conversations like FaceTime and phone conversations just to establish the type of person that you're embarking on, like whether you'll even be interested in that person. Like if our conversations don't flow on the phone, what do I expect when I'm sitting across from you at a dinner table? Like if we're not going to be able to like effectively communicate, right? So then after having, X amount of time speaking on the phone or having FaceTime dates, we'll decide based on what we've interpreted of who that person is, what our first date will be. So for me personally, as I've gotten older, I see that it's more important for me to present myself in my most authentic form, like 100% me. Like if you were dating me long term, the type of person that you would see on a day-to-day basis. Now, getting dressed and being cute, like that's amazing, but I'm not doing that every day. So I'm not going to present that to you on the first day we hang out because that builds some type of expectation. And some people can honestly pass judgment based on that, right? Like, oh, she wears makeup, or oh, she got heels on and we just going to Chili's, or something like that. Like it kind of gives like this high maintenance appeal to you. So I'm gonna be as authentic as I can, especially like if it's our first date. Now, once we get comfortable with each other and we say, okay, now we're going to do a nice date. I want you to dress up and I want you to, I like to have that spoken. Like, I don't want to just show up all dressed up and I don't even really know exactly what it is I'm in for with the type of person that I'm on this date with. So I don't know.
That's a good point. You made a good point though.
Kind of present yourself as authentic as you can. So if I did show up and the date wasn't extravagant, I wouldn't be out of my element. I would be comfortable enough to do whatever it is, like whether it was getting ice cream and going and walking around and sightseeing. Like I love things like that. I honestly really don't care to go to restaurants. I don't really like being around people. I don't like noise. I don't like to hear other people eat. So it's like going to expensive restaurants. I don't really care to do that. Like go to a quiet sushi place that's not too busy, somewhere you can be quiet and actually have a conversation and talk. Because I think on those first couple of dates, that's what's most important opposed to what you're actually doing on those dates. Because that's when I'm going to find out like whether I can continue doing that with you or not. So if I take somebody on, like if we go to an expensive place and let's say it's out of their element, they can't afford it, they're doing it to impress me. Now they're in their mind. They're not even present in the date. They're thinking, they're counting their money. They figuring out stuff. Like, no, I want to do a very chill, authentic date. And that's just what we're going to do on that first date, at least. I don't need anything fancy on the first date. Because like Vera said, I don't even know if this is going to be something that I'm going to continue. So I'm not going to kill you on the first date. Like, let's just keep it light. Somewhere I can meet you. You don't have to come and pick me up. Let me meet you there.
I love that. Teresa,
because I need an escape route. If I need to get out, I need to get out. Don't pick me up. I don't want you to pick me up.
I hear you. Vera, you put your mic on for a sec. What were you going to say?
Oh, no, I was going to say like because I'm a foodie.
Okay.
So I'm a foodie. So for me, it's not always, again, like I said, like high priced food, but more like the experience, So, and I like getting dressed up and wearing heels. So for me, that's very authentic for me,
Fair enough.
So, and I mean, I like taking long walks too, but to me, that's almost more intimate than like, I don't know. It's like, I feel like I got to get real comfortable with you first for me to say, hey, come on my walks with me. You know what I mean? Because I don't want you knowing my trail. If I don't like that and popping up, that's the place I go regularly, right? So to me personally, so I think it just depends on the person, that you're dealing with. And that's why I like to talk to people and get to feel them out first before I even like go out with them.
Love that. Mike's, talk to them. What are you saying?
Oh man. I think like you said, if the man is leading, and setting up the date, then he's setting the expectation. And from what he says, the woman will show up appropriately. Like, I think when we were Teresa and I were in LA at the same time one time. We all went to Mastro's. We all dressed up. Mastro's is a place that you dress up for. If it's Jenny's ice cream, then you know that you're going to be chilling. You can show up in sweats. So it just kind of, the type of date you're going on, and I think you just show up appropriately. If I set up a really nice date at a really nice restaurant, and she kind of showed up, or I picked her up and she didn't look appropriate, I would probably reschedule the date.
Mm.
I just would. I would be like, nah, this is not what
you mean underdressed or
Why can't you
overdressed?
think quick on your feet and switch the plan up real quick? Like,
Ooh.
all right, she might not be
Well, I
comfortable.
would
She might not
reschedule
be
that. I would
comfortable.
reschedule that date. We wouldn't go there. You see what I'm saying? But if I'm dressed up and nice, then where we gonna go? That's just all.
I think it's important. I think it's important to kind of know what the plan is or establish what the date is before. I think that's where that would be helpful.
Exactly, and that's what I mean. Like I would let you know what we're doing, so that when we show up, we're showing up on the same accord.
Interesting. Okay. No, I'm liking where the conversation is going. I like where the conversation is going because we're kind of explaining something which I think that is very important, because I think the ladies brought up a really good point when they talked about having conversation beforehand, getting to the date and getting to know that person, because we're talking about high maintenance, high value. I think we need to have more encouraging of that particular style, because I think what we see on movies, media, TV, all them things there, you meet someone, you go on a date, it works out, it doesn't work out. But actually, as we're saying, if you're not sure if you're going to meet high maintenance or high value, there should be a process of vetting, especially for ladies, because obviously the fact that when it comes to security, being aware, because some men are crazy. I ain't gonna lie to you, some men are crazy. You know what I mean? I'm not saying women aren't, but there's a lot more of men. So especially when you want to vet the person, make sure they are who they say they are, and they are a sane, well-rounded individual. We need to be kind of like encouraging that conversation before we get to start going out to dates and putting ourselves in that space. Because I don't know if you guys, we can discuss this. Going out on a date, let's say, for instance, I'll let Michael answer first. Does it put an expectation when you now are going out somewhere? Does it put an expectation? Mike, talk to them.
When you say expectation, what do you mean?
As in, like, that we're trying to maneuver somewhere, you know what I mean? Like, there's like, talking is talking, but now you're going out places, or you're going to dinner, etc. Vera's a foodie in it, so is there an expectation that may come from it? Do you have an expectation when you take out a girl on a date that this is going somewhere, this is going to progress somewhere, etc?
Man, I would say, yeah, a little bit. I mean, I would expect that you're going out on a date with me to get to know me. I'm going on a date to get to know you, especially if I'm in, whether it's time, whether we're just spending a lot of time on a date or money on a date. It's like that's the way I'm investing in you, and I'm hoping that in return you're investing in me and seeing value in me, and we're going to grow. I don't necessarily date just to pass the time away. I mean, I know some people might date just as it's a free date. If someone was taking me out on a date constantly, like if women were taking me out and paying for dates, I'd probably date for free. I would just go on anytime I wanted to eat dinner. I'll just take a date. But part of it is, me personally as a man, any woman I'm taking out on a date and spending my time with, I'm expecting that we are on the same page when it comes to at least fundamentally liking each other. Like, that should be the baseline. I mean, at least there's an opportunity for us to grow. There's no expectation for like any intimacy or anything like that. There's no expectation that you have to go on more dates with me or anything like that. It's just, at least you're going to give me the chance to get to know you. You're going to you're going to have the chance to get to know me. Let
me ask you a question. Mm-hmm. You put money into stocks. Yeah. What's your expectation of the stocks?
To make me some money.
Okay. If it's okay, so the reason why I'm asking that is because I want people to get to a place where it's like we're understanding that this time is an investment. It is, as well as your money, you're putting time. That means, ladies too, I know you lot are going out on dates. So that's time. You're getting yourself done up. Put buy a new dress or whatever. That's time and that's money being invested. So that's what that's what I was saying about earlier on, that there's a need for the vetting, because if you're a business person and you really are about your business, you don't just invest in anything. You don't just put your money and time into anything. You take time and you vet it and you make sure that, okay, it is a sensible thing to put money. I could lose, and that's fine, but at least I've done my due diligence before I got into it. Go into it, bro.
You know what is probably a way to say it that's really, that may not be popular, but people don't want to say that these interactions are transactional. I mean, you guys are making a transaction, and doesn't have to. It's not a sexual transaction. I think typically that's what people think. But I'm investing I'm investing in you. You're investing in me, and we both hope that something good comes from it. You know, that we're going to get a return from it. A lot of friendships and relationships are transactional relationships. You don't have a bunch of friends that just mooch off you. You know what I mean? That's not going to be a friendship that lasts long. And again, if you outgrow your friends, you tend to get a new friend group that's on that same level, because if your friends aren't growing with you. Same thing with relationships. If the person that you are with, if they're not growing with you, then you tend to find someone else that's on your level. So, I mean, a lot of these relationships are transactional, and you gotta, it may sound very, I guess it doesn't sound romantic. It's not like a Disney movie. Everybody wants it to be like Cinderella, and you just show up and all of a sudden, just because she's wearing a white dress and got glass slippers, that she's just the prize. You know, you both are a prize, and y'all both have to figure out if y'all can develop something together.
Love that. Therese, what are you thinking? I saw you looking. Girl, talk to us. Expectation.
I'm just listening. So I agree that every interaction you have or every relationship you have is transactional, and because you invest things like time and emotion and whatever else you invest into those relationships, and it takes a lot from you. It's not always about money. Like, you invest a lot more than just money into relationships and friendships. So you would definitely want to see some type of, I don't want to say profit, because that's not the word that I want to use, but you will want to see some type of growth and development in that, right? You're not going to invest your time and your emotion and or your money into relationships that you don't see going anywhere, because that's not going to be conducive to you in the life that you want to live. So you have to be intentional when you're dating and when you're seeking relationships with people. I think it was a third topic we were supposed to touch on. I can't remember what was the third topic.
It was the 9 to 5 versus the entrepreneur.
Right. that mentality and that mindset. So if you are an entrepreneur, the relationships and friendships you build are detrimental to your revenue. Like, if you are trying to be a business person, but you got a bunch of mooching friends and they're always looking for discounts and free things and handouts, your business is not going to profit. Now, nobody's going to take away from anybody's corporate 9-to-5 job. It really doesn't matter what type of friends you have then. But if you have a very entrepreneur spirit, you have to be very careful of the type of relationships you build and the type of relationships that you cultivate with people, because you can be taken advantage of because of the things that you invest: your time, your money, your energy, your emotion. So, yeah.
Love that. Vera, talk to us. You're looking mysterious. Go on. Oh, sorry, I muted you. Go on, go.
No, I'm just listening. But I think, like, to segue into what we were going to talk about, the 9 to 5 versus entrepreneur.
I got a video for you as well.
Maybe the topic.
I got a video for you as well. Don't worry. I got your video. Oh, come on, girl.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Hand it. You know what I'm saying? Go for it. Yeah, I can show the video. Let me show the video for you guys so we can know what we're talking about. You understand? Okay. I came prepared. You know what I'm saying? All right, cool. Let me play the video now.
Everything in my life, I have manifested it. These edges, they were gone. It's manifested them back. Okay, this waist. It's getting there. I'm still hungry. I'm not eating. I'm eating air, but I'm manifesting. I believe one day it'll be little. I do. Everything I have, my dream career, I manifested it. I'm trying to manifest a husband. Ain't nothing wrong with a nigga with a 9 to 5. I get it. They work hard. I used to have a 9 to 5. Nothing is wrong. Nothing is wrong. You work hard. You have money. I get it. I need an entrepreneur. I need somebody that understands my mindset. Somebody that has the same lifestyle. It has nothing to do with money, everything to do with lifestyle, okay? When I'm in the bed at 3 a.m. checking emails, what you doing, babe? Working. What you doing? Working. Okay, love you. You want to hop on a flight tomorrow? I have a meeting in out of town. You want to go? Okay, let's go. Okay, you understand my life. You understand what I'm going through. I want to manifest that. What do you want in a man? What do you want? Let's start there. What do you want? Let's manifest it, baby. You can have it. Whatever you want, you can have it. it. Manifest it. Ain't nothing wrong with a nigga with a 9 to 5. Ain't nothing wrong with an entrepreneur ass nigga. Manifest whatever you want. I want to manifest an entrepreneur ass husband. I don't care what you do. Entrepreneur, graphic designer, sell t-shirts, sell drugs, rapper. You could be a rapper. A becoming rapper, D-list. I don't give a entrepreneur, okay? At this point, I'm about to rebuy my book. I'm about to rebuy my book so I can manifest my husband. Whatever you want, you can manifest it.
Okay, cool. That video always gets me. I know some people didn't like the. I mean, I actually did a review on this, and we had a good conversation around it. But she does bring up a very important, I guess, point. It is the 9 to 5 versus the entrepreneur. And if you are an entrepreneur, let's say, or if you're 9 to 5, is there a difference in terms of lifestyles? Now, we've been talking about dating intentionally. I think that's actually what the kind of unification of theme is coming now when we're talking about high maintenance versus high value. What's you guys' initial response to that video when you watch it?
I think she makes.
Go for it,
I'm sorry, what's somebody going? I think she makes good points. For her to be a comedian, like it was supposed to have a comical undertone, but her points are valid. For a person that's an entrepreneur, so let's say I own my own business. That means I have time at my own leisure. I can decide when I want to go on dates or vacations or whatever. If you have a corporate job and you have to put in PTO, you don't even know if you have to wait for somebody to give you permission to even take your time. So you can't really date like you if I had a 9 to 5, I would have to also date someone with a 9 to 5. If I was an entrepreneur, I think I would also want to date someone that is an entrepreneur because we would have a common ground with that. Like maybe we could even feed off of each other and give value to each other in our respective fields of entrepreneurship. But if I dated an entrepreneur and he was like, well, I'm gonna go to Mexico for 2 weeks. And I'm like, well, I don't know if I can get off of work. And he still goes, like, that's a problem. Like that's uncommon ground because I can't just do what I want because I have to report to a job and report to a person. So I understood what she was saying. She caught a lot of heat from that video, but the purpose of it was to be funny. And I think people like took it very intentional, like she was talking down to people that worked at 9 to 5. I didn't really get that from the video because, like I said, it's supposed to be some kind of comedic release from her. So I don't see anything wrong with the 9 to 5. I don't see anything wrong with entrepreneurship. At the beginning of entrepreneurship, it's some hard times, like it's some sacrifices. So you really have to kind of value people who decide to go that route because it's not always like you just go from ground zero to like profitable business. Like there's a lot of building to go up to. I think her idea of it is to catch someone on the higher end, someone that's established. She wouldn't want to date anybody that's building and, risking their own money and their time. It's a lot.
Flavor. I think
because being an entrepreneur doesn't always mean that you're successful, right? So I think people just think entrepreneurship equals success. It doesn't mean that you're successful. It doesn't mean that you're ever going to be successful. Actually, most entrepreneurs fail miserably many times over and never succeed. So there's some people who are entrepreneurs whose partners probably begging them to get a 9 to 5 just so they can have some stability. Some people enter into entrepreneurship not knowing what it entails. Okay, and actually working a whole lot more than a 9 to 5 with little to show for it. So or like the ones that are super successful, but they're so successful because they have to work all the time. And like literally you're there next to them, but you still feel lonely because their mind is at work. It's pros and cons to both, you know what I mean? I say the man makes the job doesn't make the man.
Okay. Say that when we're at McDonald's. Don't worry. Say that when we're at McDonald's. All right. Appreciate it, bro. Go on. Mike, talk to us.
Shut up.
I think there's a lot of misguided thought around this entrepreneur label. There's this idea that if you're an entrepreneur, you have unlimited free time. There's this idea that you have no boss. You don't have unlimited free time. If you don't, your business needs you, you have to be there. And you don't have no boss. Literally every customer is your boss. You know what I mean? You are at the will of your customers at all times, because unless you've developed a business where you have different levels, where you have a management level and then you have some workers, where you're not always the person making all the decisions. Initially, when you're an entrepreneur, you are the go-to person. Everyone gets the product or service directly from you. So every time your phone rings, you need to answer it. You can't take a week off or 2 weeks off. There is no PTO for you. You know what I mean? You can't earn time off as an entrepreneur. I look at myself almost, because I work for 2 different corporations. And I look at myself as a person. I look at myself like a personal consulting firm.
Okay.
I will take on multiple full-time jobs because if I can handle it within my time. So I do have to manage the work I do kind of from an entrepreneurial mindset. You know what I mean? So, but I have one manager for one project. I have another manager. That's who I answer to. I don't have 30 people calling me every day trying to figure out what I can provide them. So my life is very easy. I can travel everywhere. I don't need PTO. I take my laptop with me. I can be out of the country for 6 months and come, and nobody would know as long as I have the internet, you know. But that's just specifically my field. But there's this idea that being an entrepreneur means that you have this type of hustler's mentality, that a 9-to-5 person kind of is relaxed and sits back and just settles for the little bit of money that they make every 2 weeks or a month or whatever like that. And I think that's far from the truth. Even within a 9-to-5 framework, you can have a hustler's mentality. You know, there's 9-to-5 jobs that have $10,000 a month bonuses, and you have to hustle to get it. You see what I mean? So I don't think that you can label. I mean, she even mentioned she doesn't care if you're selling T-shirts or trying to be a rapper. So she doesn't care if you're a successful entrepreneur. Okay, I'll just say I'm an entrepreneur. My hustle is my 9-to-5. You know what I mean? Like, if that's just the word, because her definition of entrepreneur doesn't have any success behind it, or there's no numerical metrics. There's no metrics to gauge what a successful entrepreneur is. So I just think it's an ignorant thing, but I find a lot of people want to say they're entrepreneurs just to make it seem like they have a different type of hustle than people who ball. Trust me, it took a lot of hustle to go through school, get the degree, get some technical certifications that I had to study on my own for. It was a lot of self-motivation. So at the end of the day, you're not learning these programming languages. They don't teach you that in school. It's all self-taught. So there's a lot of things that someone that has a 9-to-5 you can compare the same hustle mentality to an entrepreneur, where you can be an entrepreneur within that same framework.
And one last thing, like, you have to know how to follow first before you can lead appropriately. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's not always a good thing to jump right into entrepreneurship. You should learn how to work, start from the bottom, learn all the levels, learn what each staff member is going to need for their position. And that all takes the experience of working for someone to gain that knowledge, unless you have someone teach you directly. But most of the time, you have to learn how to follow first before you become a good leader.
Love that. Teresa, go on.
B. Simone was telling a joke.
Oh, sorry. I muted you. Apologies. Go on.
You seriously shouldn't take anything she says seriously. Like, she plays herself.
Do you think that some people do jokes though, in truth?
Yeah, there is always some truth behind a joke. Like, it breeds healthy conversation. Okay. Like, it stems from a real topic, but you can't take what she says seriously. She's a comic. She tells jokes for a living. That's what her job is. That's her entrepreneurship. But I don't see anything wrong with either. Like, if you were just sitting at home not working, that would be more of my issue. Whether you clock in somewhere or if you are the clock, as long as you got some money coming in and you taking care of yourself, you cool with me. I don't know. I don't see an issue with that. I take everything she says with a grain of salt because she's a comedian. She wants to make you laugh. Like, nobody's out here trying to date an up and coming rapper. Like, you don't even keep the mixtapes they hand to you in the mall parking lot. No, it's just no.
She actually did a follow-up video, because I actually followed this story. She actually explained that she meant what she said. She did want an entrepreneur, but she's talking about mindset. So I totally understand the mindset, but I think what we said here is that, for instance, I do YouTube, right? And I can do whatever I want to do at any time, right? But I spend probably 13, 14 hours a day. I'm not playing with you. So when you see me, I'm here. I will edit. I will film. I will talk to people. I will arrange appointments. Like, time is not. It's when I was 9 to 5 previously in May, right? I was 9 to 5. It was literally 9 to 5. I was 9 to 5 or 9 to, sometimes it's 12 to 9, whatever you call it. I had that time set Monday to Friday. Saturday, Sunday, I rest. I do my YouTube on the side. Like, it wasn't as serious, right? As soon as I went full-time YouTube, I started to realize, hold on a minute. It's not just YouTube. I've got to build a brand. I've got to start to think about the future. How do I expand beyond this particular platform? How do I reach other people to increase what I'm doing at the moment? So you suddenly realize that the time that you even have that previously you had when you were 9 to 5 isn't the same time you have when you are doing entrepreneur stuff. But it again depends on what you're actually doing, right? Some jobs will have more freedom if you're an entrepreneur. But I would say anybody who's successful and growing, you are going to have a lot more time invested in what you're doing. Do you know why? Because the moment you get money, you got to keep the money and you want to try and increase it. That means more time, more energy. Do you know what I'm saying? That means you're focused and you're intentional about what you're putting into those things. And I think it also depends on the stage you're at. So I've started YouTube, but if you want to call it, I'm at the baby stage. So there's a lot more time and effort I have to put into it. It doesn't sell itself automatically. Whereas other people are further along in their journey as an entrepreneur, and some of the stuff already sells itself. So therefore, passive income, etc., investments, they're working for itself. So he or she can take a little bit more of a break in certain areas. But I think, as you said correctly, you still have a boss, and you just don't take time off like that. You know, it's not always that simple. But again, we're talking about mindset. Can a 9 to 5 person hold the hustler's mindset? I believe he can. He or she can, sorry, as I say. Go on, Vera. I see you touching the mic. Go on, Vera. No, you don't want to touch? No? Mike, you want to hear? Go for it.
No, I'm just piggybacking on what you said, because you're 5 hours ahead of me. Sometimes I'm messaging you at 10 o'clock p.m. my time. So that's like 3 a.m. your time, and you're responding.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, go to sleep. And even like what B. Simone said, like she wants to be up in the morning at 3, 4 a.m. checking her stuff. I mean, I'm up every day at 4:30 in the morning. You know what I mean? I'm up at 4:30 in the morning. I'm at the gym by 7. I'm back at home by 9 a.m. to get to my corporate work. And then whenever I'm done with that, I'm studying for the next thing. There's always something to study for. So this idea that just because I think in a lot of people's eyes, they think a 9 to 5 is almost like this call center kind of environment where you go, you jump on the phone, you take calls for 8 hours, and then you go home, right? If you have a career that's developing, you're always learning and studying. And I mean, even my sister Colette, she has to keep up with her PA license. It's like there's never a time for you to just sit on your hands. There's never. So if you're in a career that's growing, you're going to constantly have a hustler's mentality, because you got to figure out what avenues you can kind of maneuver to either continue the money, continue your growth in the field, or find opportunities in the field that you didn't know before that you need to develop a skill in, so you can even be more valuable to whatever company you're working for.
Yeah.
Tracy, you want anything to add? Girl, I know you always got something to give us, girl.
I have nothing. This wasn't one of those topics that I was really excited to talk about, especially just because of the conversation around it and where it came from. As soon as you said the topic, for some reason, B. Simone just popped into my mind. And that's why I was like, I'll flow with it, but it's not anything that I'm just like dying to talk about. Because I don't know, I don't really relate to her view on it. And I still don't. So it's not.
Oh, Go on, Vera. Spice it
I
up.
relate. I relate a little bit just because I'm not gonna lie. Like, so there's a reason why there's a distinction, because sometimes society, kind of upholds this like boss man mentality. I want all the girls like, I want a boss,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, things exist in society for a reason, you know what I mean? And just like, there are supermodels that are like the epitome of beauty, right? If somebody says I want a supermodel, that's just what they want, you know what I mean? Like, there is a certain societal respect when it comes to, like, I guess, the hierarchy of people. When someone says, yeah, I'm the boss, I'm the CEO, I'm not, I mean, that's just a fact, you know what I mean? But then there's some 9-to-5s, like, consultants or physicians that also command a lot of respect too. So it's like my brother said, I think it just depends. Like, you could be a hustler with a 9-to-5. Yeah.
And I mean, I agree. I mean, I think a lot of people want to be a boss, and it's I guess it's a cool thing to say for sure. What they don't understand is some of the richest people who are, I guess, they were not entrepreneurs their whole life. You know what I mean? Like, if you work, you have to work in the industry to really master it and understand it, and it takes time. It might take you 20 years of being in a certain industry to really master it, and then now you can take that knowledge and develop your own thing. And you still might have partnerships with corporations where that you're maybe you do more partnerships than employment, something like that. But this idea that the only way you really can elevate yourself is by being your own boss. I mean, a lot of is every doctor have their own practice? No. You know what I mean? But they command a lot of respect. Now, they can have their own practice after they probably practice for a certain amount of time and understand the business side. And still, just because you transition to the business side doesn't mean you are master of business. Some doctors can still fail opening up their own practice because they don't understand business. To be an entrepreneur takes a lot of layers to it. It's not just, I want to sell t-shirts. So we all can. I want to sell t-shirts too. I'll make like 10 of them and sell them, and now I'm an entrepreneur. It's like, you have to really, are you successful? Are you actually building a business where you can employ people? That's, to me, that's an entrepreneur. That's somebody who has developed
a scalable business.
Yeah, a scalable business that doesn't require every single time that phone calls, it has to do, or the job doesn't get done. To me, that's just like selling candy at school. That's no different.
Yeah. It's a lot of fake entrepreneurs in Atlanta.
There's a lot of fake ones. That's all I'm saying.
Everybody's a boss in Atlanta.
And I think that's the connotation around, like, people with a 9-to-5. It's like, you have this idea that if you work from 9 to 5, you're answering to someone. You're not the boss of whatever you're doing, right? So I think that's more of what people's idea or thought is. It's like, if you're working a 9 to 5, you're answering to somebody. You're working for somebody for whatever duration of time you're going to be working. And they think, oh, well, if you're an entrepreneur, you're your own boss. But like Mike mentioned, you're not really your own boss, because you're answering to your customers, your clientele, and the people you're selling whatever you're selling things, whoever you're selling
your
to.
Stakeholders.
Yeah. So you're still essentially working for someone. No one's just out here working solely for themselves and answering just solely to themselves.
Let me ask a question. What is the attraction behind this whole, my man's a boss? You know what I mean? Like, because that's I think that's where part of the conversation is. Sorry, Tracy, you've muted. But I was gonna say, what is that, ladies? Talk to us, because I want to know your perspective. What is the attraction behind? Vera's already going. Look, Vera's already gone.
No.
She's already gone.
I like conversations like this, right? Because there's societal stereotypes, and there's nature, right? Because I think it's a very innate thing for women to want a boss guy, because it just sounds very masculine, very alpha, very, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, you just feel more stable and protected. It's innate. Honestly, it really is innate. It's the same thing a guy feels when they see a woman with that Coca-Cola shake. You want to, like, get to know her and mate with her, probably. It's a natural evolutionary thing.
So, Vera, what is a boss to you? What is a boss? Like, when you look at a man, what what makes him a boss, right?
Well, a boss, I feel like in the real sense, you're a boss. You have employees, you employ people, you know, people's livelihood depend on you. You're running a business, you have an LLC, an S Corp, some type of, business that's taxable, that's profitable.
I love that.
That a real boss has a business that's scalable, with stakeholders. So there's levels, but a real boss, you have a real legitimate business, a business account, employees.
I love that. Mike, when you hear this,
So your businesses, the businesses you have, or I guess the financial outlets you have makes you a boss. Okay. So when B. Simone spoke on a boss mentality, what is a boss mentality?
There are people who have boss mentalities but aren't bosses.
That's right.
They're on their way. Or they see something they want to imitate. They see 50 Cent, right? They want to be like 50 Cent. I'm a boss. But again, when your taxes are done, what are you filing it under? You know what I'm saying?
Vera's gonna hold you accountable, like,
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, do you have an LLC? Can somebody sue you? Or do you have liability? Are you writing checks? Or do you want to be a boss? You're on your way there. That's different from claiming that you are, when in fact there are factual things that make you a boss. Like, in fact, a lot of people are not bosses.
Vera, I mean, let me ask you a question. So, if you own a shop, a little corner stop, would that be boss energy? You have a little corner stop.
Yeah, well, it's a legitimate business. If you register it under an LLC, it's a legitimate business. You're trading goods and supplies. That's a business. Yeah.
Love that. Mike, you're the guy here. I'm the guy here. When you hear the ladies talking about boss energy, what does that make you feel like?
Oh man, I don't really know if that's a real thing. I just think, like, I don't think your profession and the way you make your money is boss energy. I don't know. I really don't know. Because what if you're lazy, but you just happen to inherit a business from the family. You're in charge. You know what I mean? But you're not adding any value to the business, but you've already had it. You know what I mean? Or what? You can sit back and say, I'm a boss. You know what I mean? I am the boss. Is it just if it's just a mindset, then I think, okay, that makes sense. But I don't know if it innately means like you have to have, just because if you have these tangible things that show that you have a business means that you have a boss mindset. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I know a lot of lazy people that have money. You know what I mean? Like, I'm one of them. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, Jacob.
But I've just been successful in this one little thing that I do. You know what I mean? But it's like, the mindset to me is probably more. To me, I think it's just a hustler's mentality. You want more out of life than what's been given to you. You want to create something greater than yourself. You probably want to create something that can be passed down to family or, your children or something like that. You want to leave a legacy. You want to have a positive net worth. Things like that is probably what's really the attraction. And then they just lump it up in this word that says boss,
There is an energy, though. I ain't gonna lie. There is an energy.
Yeah. Huh? That's what I would be. What Mike just said, that would be a boss to me. Like, someone that just takes care of business. That's the boss. Like, whether you have an actual business or not, the business in your life, are you taking care of it? Like, are you setting things up in the future? Are you trying to create a long line of wealth and security for yourself and people after you? Like, that's what a boss is to me. So it definitely is boss energy. It's a boss mentality, but you don't necessarily have to have a business, to be a boss. That's just having a business, because you could be a very sucky business owner. You can have a business and still not be a boss.
Yeah. So I guess, so you feel like you can, a business owner and that boss mentality, are they do they always go hand in hand in your experience?
No.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying. It's like one doesn't guarantee the other, so
there is like I was saying, like there is an energy, like there are people who know how to start up a business, to do the paperwork and everything like that, but they don't have that kind of commanding presence. They don't know how to actually lead. And then there are real leaders within a 9-to-5 work frame. So there is an energy, but when I was talking about just the clear definition of a boss, there is a real definition. Like you can have a business and not have that energy, and still technically you're a boss. Technically you're a boss, but there is, I don't know, there is an energy. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Listen, I hear you,
It's
Vera.
there.
You ain't lying.
You just know it. You just know it when you see it.
I ain't gonna say you're lying. I agree with that. And I think just to add to what you guys have been saying, I think most importantly, not everyone. Listen, if everybody was leading, there'd be no one to follow. I'm just gonna be honest with you. So you would run your business on nobody. So you need somebody to do the following. So someone's got to date some of these followers. I'm just gonna be real with y'all. Everybody wants to date a leader. Someone's got to date the followers. Okay, yeah. All right. As workforce is dimmed. But no, in true reality, I actually agree with you. There is, some might call it alpha male energy. There is a boss energy, and when men even meet those type of men, because men are not oftentimes we don't fight about these kind of things. You meet that guy, like, props to him. You just say props to him because you know that he carries that kind of energy. And so I do understand when women say, when they say boss energy, they're talking about the way that the person moves, the way they think, the way that they go about their business. There's a boss energy to it. So I got no beef for that. Do you know what I'm saying? I just think, coming to a round of our conversation, I just think, what Beastman was saying. Oh, Michael, you want to say something? Go for it, bro. What do you want to say?
Do you feel like you have boss energy?
I think it depends on the person. I always think it's in relation to who you meet. To some people, I have boss energy. To some people, I do not have it, and that's what I would say. But I do think I carry a boss energy, but it's relational, depending on who I meet.
Yeah, that's true.
Depending on you, so you're feeling like if there's someone who's been further along in their boss career, or like what is it? Like
depends what they value, because it depends on what they value. This is something I did one of my first videos on YouTube, which was called "There are different types of snakes in the kingdom." Yeah, some are anacondas, some are vipers, some are boa constrictors, but all these different snakes have a level of energy. When you meet that snake, God damn, I don't want to play with that snake, right? So, but it depends on the person who's meeting that person. For instance, Michael, you meet certain people. Let's say a woman, you meet certain women, they're gonna give you all the adoration and praise like you are a god. You're gonna meet some women, they're gonna be like, okay, I like Michael and we are co-equals. They're gonna be some women, they're gonna meet you and be like, Michael, you're not even in my league, because it's relational depending on who you meet. Now, some guys have a larger base who consider them to be their god in their world. They just laud them and worship them. And some guys have a smaller base, but there's always going to be people in relation to you that consider you to be a boss. But it depends on that type of person, and it depends on what. Before it gets too deep, it depends on the world that you exist into. You have to do something. For instance, Michael, you're on own TV now, right? You are going to branch out of. You're going to be outside of your circle now, of just your 9 to 5. You're going to be branching and reaching people who watch TV, right? Who watch own TV. Right, so there's going to be a bunch of women there going to think Michael is an absolute boss, but someone who's let's say American footballer, they will have the same kind of circuit you have, but now people watch them on TV. American footballer, it comes with status, it comes with power. Someone's going to consider them a boss, and they might have a larger audience. But I just really think it's relational. It's relational in terms of who you meet and stuff. So yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Well, I guess my point was, like, if you have that energy, that no matter what room I'm in, I'm carrying that energy. You see what I'm saying?
That's true.
I'm going to carry that confidence, and I'm not. It's not to say like there's not people that are more successful, but you can still carry that energy. That if I'm in a room with the owner of the company I work for, I'm not. I mean, obviously they're more successful, but I'm going to have the energy and confidence to talk to him like we're almost on the same level. You know what I mean? Like we're basically like, and that's what I mean. Like if you have the energy, no matter who you're around, you have that energy. That's what I mean. And I think you would do that. I don't think you would shrink. I don't think you would dim your light around someone else because you think that they shine bright. You see what I mean? And that's all I mean. If you have it, you have it.
No, I like that. I like that. So you actually, when I explain it, I should explain it this way. What you explain is that you, the person, always carry the boss energy. Yeah. How people view you is what I was talking about. Sorry, I was coming from how people view you will change relationally depending on who they are. Yeah, you're right. You should never lose boss energy. Never lose boss energy. Okay, I wrote it out. We're coming to the conclusion of our conversation, guys. So, as always, I like to have everybody have a minute or two to give their final conclusions to the conversation. Now, you can talk about any of the 3 topics we spoke about, but we want to have your particular conclusion on the topics. Vera, since you got your mic undone, go for it.
Oh, really?
Boss energy, go. Come on.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Okay. Can I just say, like, can we all just stop talking about high value and high maintenance? I hope we can stop talking about it now. I don't know. I just I think maybe everyone just try to aim to be high value. You know, like compete against yourself and like just, you know, try to do the best that you can and get to know yourself as best as you can. And whether you work a 9 to 5 or you're an entrepreneur, just be you. You know what I mean? Be you and stay true to yourself. That's it.
Vera doesn't date anything less than an entrepreneur, guys. So just in case you
that is not true.
If you're 9 to 5, don't consider it, Ray. She's on to the entrepreneurs only.
Oh, please. Stop.
I'm kidding. Teresa, go for it. Hit us up with something. What's your final thoughts?
Be a boss in your own right. Just whatever you are doing, just be a boss at that. And don't let anybody tell you that you're not a boss. Just take care of your business. I had mentioned something earlier, and I just like that to be my takeaway, especially in dating, going back to high value or high maintenance. If you are a giver and you know that you are naturally a giver, put a cap on it. Make sure you have a limit to your giving because takers don't have a limit. Don't let anyone take advantage of you because you're a giver, especially if they're a high maintenance person. Know how to differentiate high maintenance from high value. Facilitate the presence of high value in your relationships and friendships, because friendships can be, you know, more time consuming and heartbreaking than relationships can. That could be another topic on another day. Because I've experienced heartbreaking friendships because those were high maintenance friendships. Know the difference between high value and high maintenance friendships and relationships.
That's a good topic start. I like that. Go for it, Mike.
Yeah, Teresa took the words out of my mouth. I would just go back to, I guess I'll just talk about the dating on a budget. Guys and ladies, be careful, you know, to like take pride in how you date. Take pride in your goals. Don't let other people shift your goals based on what their expectation is. If you have a budget, stick to it. Or if you have a certain style of dating, stick to it. And just focus on your goals. Because at the end of the day, if you reach your goals, the dating will come. It won't be a problem.
Love that. I think everyone's spoken quite candidly here. I don't want to do a summary because I think you guys have summed up quite perfectly. But one thing that stuck in my mind was, listen, if you can't afford it, I don't know why you're asking someone else to afford it for you. Please make sure you're not on your bottom line. That's my thing. Just make sure you're not on the bottom line. If you can afford it, fantastic. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I would say. Guys, thank you so much. Ladies and gents, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate the conversation. We will come back soon with another topic for you guys. So you will see these lovely, beautiful faces again. But yeah, we're going to have some more conversations like this in the coming weeks for you guys. So make sure you guys stay locked, stay loaded, and we will see you soon. Appreciate you guys. Bye-bye. Bye.